Hey everyone, this is Jason Pullmore, SE Wrestle. Welcome to 6 Minutes, which is nowhere close to 6 minutes with Lucas.
We just did an hour 15, so I mean,
yeah, and that's why we broke this up because honestly, you know, I'm sure you're focused on your classification. You're interested in what we have to say about it. I wasn't going to do the 7 different times with 7 different intros and things like that. So we have odds and evens as far as state duels go, and we are now to evens. But I am joined by Lucas DeSilva, who had some very hot takes for the odds. If you didn't get to hear some of what he had to say, you should
go back, go check it out. Right, go check it out. I've been raised by 2 amazing parents who've told me that fight for what I believe in, and honestly, I don't care what people think about what I say because honestly, I've never cared, and I just don't.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Am I cussing? No? Okay, then I'm good.
Okay. Well, Lucas is a Fat and Scrappy brand. We haven't talked about your Fat and Scrappy brand in the intro to the other one. So let's talk a little bit about it now. What do you what's going on with it? What do you got going on?
So we just did our Fat and Jolly run, which was an amazing run. Shout out Compound Sports, where Gabe McDaniel, Cliff Fretwell, Mark Steen, the guys that are all helping me out with it. I'm really appreciative of them. They do really good things. Obviously in the summer, we got my dual team Fat and Scrappy. We are returning to the Osceola Knockout SummerSlam. I've already added some great additions to the team. And then next year we're launching Fierce and Scrappy. We're going to do a girls team. I'm still planning that out, but the game plan will be that we'll go to like I-64, one of those tournaments that has 2 divisions of boys and a women's. That'll be a lot of fun. I have a lot of really cool things planned with Fat and Scrappy in the coming years, and I'm excited. I'm really excited for the future.
All right, so Fat and Scrappy for the guys and Fierce and Scrappy for the girls.
I was told I can't call a girls team Fat and Scrappy. That's what I was told by people within girls wrestling.
I think you'd probably be.
I agree with you.
Huh?
I would have called it Fat and Scrappy. I was just told I couldn't do that.
Well, you know, I don't know that I don't know that it matters because you want another FNS kind of team for the girls. So Fierce and Scrappy works just fine, right?
And believe it, the font's going to change too. I'm going to find one of those like cute fonts. Oh God, that sounds terrible. Never mind. I'm not stepping on that ledge. That's a ledge I won't go on. We're not even going to touch that. We're going to move on. Moving on. I am single, and I'm not trying to die single, so we're not going to go there.
All right, so there you go. Lucas steps in it once again, but that's okay. We will move on to.
Last time I did it intentionally.
We will move on to the 6A state duels, and I'm going to just give the overview on this one. 6A for me has always been one of the funnest classifications to watch. It's very deep. It has so many good teams. It seems like it always comes down to the last match. And, you know, you got Coach Robbins jumping up and down with a win, you know, here. And you've got, you know, it's what duels are supposed to be. You don't have many blowouts. You have very, very competitive teams. And I think that's what makes 6A so much fun to watch. How about you?
I agree with that entirely. And I mean, and this is, again, another one of those years where it's like, okay, there's 7 teams that could place, if not more. And it's like, okay. Like, I mean, and you even look, so Buford is your reigning defending state champions.
Right.
But this is not an easy road for them. They do not have this is not a guarantee. And it's one of those things where I said it before the camera rolled, 6A is the classification of throwing darts, where there's going to come a duel where it's like they win. And it's like wherever it lands because these teams are all so good.
Right.
And it's really an accreditation to the coaching in this classification.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The coaches all throughout are fantastic. And just a shout out to Coach Haskin at Pope, who is finishing up his last year.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And you know what? He's had a great run, and they have a great program. It's going to be hard to finish on the top of this podium in this group, but
it's going to be very difficult. But I mean, it's one of those things where he's always a coach I've had a ton of respect for just through the years of seeing him coach and do his thing. He is a state champion coach, maybe multiple times. I could be mistaken, but I know he won one. I remember seeing him win one at the very least.
Okay. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember.
No, I know he won one. No, I know for sure he won one because it was like my junior year he won one. They beat Creekview. No, my senior year.
Okay. Oh, I think I actually was sitting in front of the bench taking pictures maybe.
Yeah, they got a pin in the last match. That's
right. Okay. All right. So let's go over to the bracket, and let's start. We could talk about lots of these and everything else, and we're going to go through each of them pretty quickly, but not so fast. If there's one quad that stands out to you as being more difficult than any other quad, what is it? Not very often that Lucas is at for a loss of words.
I mean, the bottom left number one, Creekview, Valdosta's even, and Grovetown even. Like, and then Pope doesn't have an easy road either. Like, there's 5 quads where I'm like, okay, 3 teams could win this damn thing.
Right. I agree with you. But I'm asking you to pick one.
Yeah, I know you are.
Which is the toughest quad? And then I'm going to tell you which one I think is. I think the Creekview quad is the toughest quad.
My eyes keep darting over to it. It's either Creekview. To me, it's either Creekview or Popes.
Okay, and I agree with that too. Although, yeah, that's a tough quad too. All right,
exactly.
All right. So let's go to quad 1, and we've got
Empire.
The Empire, right?
ALX.
Houston County, because I always mess that up, have had a really good season, and that sort of thing. But I think ALX is probably the team to beat in quad 1.
They're the team to beat. Don't be surprised if Houston gets to the finals of the quad, but ALX should take care of business, move the Empire on. Moisner, Cochran, and the crew, they get the job done. They are an incredible staff. I've had the pleasure of having had them coach me at Fargo in my 1 year of going, and it was an honor. They are very good at what they do. They deserve everything they've gotten at this point.
All right, so let's talk about quad 2.
Brunswick, I think, is your heavy favorites, and I think it's deserved. They are a very, very good team.
They are a really good team.
And a sneaky good one. They're like every year it's like, oh God, I forgot about Brunswick. Like, they are very good. I mean, no disrespect to Habersham, Westlake, or Alatoona, but I just think they're a little outgunned.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brunswick will move pretty comfortably.
All right, quad 3.
Oh,
were you surprised that South Paulding took 4th?
Yes and no, because yes, but if you look at their region, I mean, that region 5 is deadly. So I'm not surprised that they got 4, but it's like region 1 and 7A where it's like, okay, there's going to be a really good team that has to get 4th.
Got it.
You know, and it's just if you're Creekview, you're obviously very agitated that it just so happens that that's who you catch right off the scale. Like, I just want to be sure. I mean, Alexander, Carrollton, Dalton, South Paulding. Like, I mean, that's it. That's a great region. So, and then you look at Lee County and Evans, they're not slouches either.
Well, and I think Lee County only lost to Valdosta by 9.
Yeah, and Valdosta is a amazing team as well. Like,
correct. So you can't look past Lee County. Lee County is going to be a force with whoever. I mean, I don't know if they beat Evans or whatever, but they're definitely a team I would keep an eye on.
I think Lee will beat Evans, but then that next duel is going to be a bloodbath.
All right, quad 4.
A very interesting one in the sense of that North Atlanta, not your typical region winners. Like, North Atlanta, no disrespect to North Atlanta, by the way. They obviously did the right things and got the job done, but not who I would have guessed to win And then you look at who's in their region. Lassiter and Decula obviously are more well-known in wrestling, at least. I think this is one of those regions where the number one team is not necessarily the favorite.
I agree with you. Okay. Quad 5.
My God.
Does Coach Haskin get Pope back to the Elite Eight?
I'm willing to say that he will.
Okay.
I think that Pope is the better team. Karpinski, Robinson, and the boys.
Karpinski back in the lineup after being gone last year.
That was huge. Getting him back, that's a huge thing. Yeah, it's just one of those where it's like, I think Haskins in his final run, I think he will be at a state meet again. I think Richmond Hill, this is not your. I want to say this is a weaker Richmond Hill team, because I don't want to sound disrespectful, but Richmond Hill in the past has been a state title contender. As in, they've won state titles, they've been in the state finals before. I don't think this is that same Richmond Hill.
That's true. I mean, and it's not disrespectful. I mean, that bar is pretty high for them.
Like, you're still a good team. Don't get it twisted. Like,
right. And they should be in that final, in that round, to be able to push through, and they could, but yeah, this isn't Camden Monroe and, you know, the Evans boys and so on and so forth, at least at the moment.
This is one of those things again where the system, this system of deciding your state tournament, it hurts certain teams that are in tougher regions. And case in point, if you're Richmond Hill, you're a great team, but now you got to go through a war.
Right. All right. Quad 6.
People can't see it. I'm throwing darts.
All right.
Like Cambridge, Carrollton, Northside, and Grovetown. This is the first one where I'm going to say this is a 4-horse race. This is entirely wide open.
Okay.
Like,
so Carrollton wrestled super well in their region. And
yeah, a little better than I expected.
To be fair, I agree with you. And if that Carrollton team shows up, they could be through. But yes, Cambridge is a tough, right off the scale team to get.
I mean, and you look at their region, they had Creekview and Sequoia ahead of them. Like, Cambridge lost to 2 dogs. Like, was Carrollton's performance at Duals an anomaly? Or, like, this is where we find that out. Like,
are they peaking at the right time? I mean, they could be peaking absolutely right at the right time.
Yeah, all like right. This couldn't. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know that much.
Quad 7, Buford. Anybody else? So I'm a big fan of South Effingham.
So I didn't see much of South Effingham, so I'm going to toss this over to you. I mean, you think South Effingham could challenge the Wolves?
So I think again, I don't like to make predictions, and I would never bet. Buford has tons of hammers, are so solid in so many particular weights. But South Effingham went to maybe the Coastal Clash or somewhere up in South Carolina. I think they finished second to Camden County. You know, they're a good team. They've beaten Richmond Hill in the duel. You know, they lost to Brunswick, obviously, in that region. So you can't look past them. But Buford, it would be a surprise if Buford didn't move on, at least in my opinion.
And I'll tell you one thing. I learned my lesson about picking against Buford. I learned my lesson.
You haven't learned your lesson about picking against Camden, though?
No.
Kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, Jason.
Well, we can go there. Okay. No, because I need to tell you a funny story. Last year, I did my predictions, and I picked against Buford. Buford beats Alexander, and Gavin Pope called me on the phone to talk crap to me with him, Nick Cambria, and all the boys. They were talking crap to me about picking them. And then when they won, they talked even more crap to me. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. I can't even be mad. I'm like,
oh, no. They wrestled great.
Yeah, they deserve it. And fantastic. I mean, they're an incredible team.
They are an incredible team. They have a lot of talent. Now, you know, they remind me a little bit of like the Woodward Academies, Casses, and Woodlands in that they've got some outstanding individuals. They might have a couple of holes, and a team that is 14, really tough kids, might have a shot. But it's gonna be tough because your margin for error is gonna be very, very small in beating Buford.
Yeah, no, like it's gonna be one of those things where you're gonna have to find a way to not give up bonus.
Yeah.
And with that crew, good luck.
Well, and then we go down to quad 8, and Valdosta is a team.
So this is where I had coaches before the year telling me about Valdosta, and I said the same thing. I was like, I need to see it. I need to see it. And now I'm seeing it. And I'm like, oh God, they are very good. Like,
they are very good. I know they beat Thompson from Alabama up at Eagles Landing.
They beat Lowndes and kind of beat up on them a little bit.
Yeah. So Valdosta is I don't want to say Sequoia doesn't have a shot. I don't know. Actually, they might have actually wrestled at Eagles Landing. They probably have a better idea of whether they can match up with Valdosta or not.
Oh, shout out to Sequoia. I saw them at the Archer Thanksgiving tournament this year, and they looked really good. And they look like they're on the up and up. Like, they look like Coach from Creekview. I'm forgetting his name. What?
Coach Hewlin?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. I know him for a long time. I just completely lost his name for a second. But he looks like he's got them in the right direction.
Oh, no, I agree completely.
But I think Valdosta moves through comfortably. But Sequoia, nod to them. And even Dalton. Dalton's always been a good team.
Agreed. And you already talked about Region 5 being tough. And it's going to be tough. So Sequoia can't look ahead. That's for darn sure.
No.
All right. So now back to this. We are going to move to 4A. But before we get to 4A, so out of these three classifications, 6A, 4A, and 2A, is 4A the one that you feel the most confident that or you believe who the champion's going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think so. Obviously, you look at Jefferson, and they're a great team.
And that's what I'm alluding to, right? I mean,
let's call it what it is. The question is, does losing Hoke? I think it pulls certain teams closer, but I don't know if it closes the gap entirely.
Yeah.
I think it's still Jefferson's tournament to lose, at least right now.
Jefferson is tough, top to bottom, really, really, really good team. Obviously, losing a kid who in a duel is one match, but in a tournament is 20-something points.
Let me tell you something about the tournament. There's going to be one or two teams that they lost 28 points just now by losing Hope. Like that. 28 points is not very easily made up.
Right.
Like in a dual meet, okay, maybe you lose 6. You can move that around. You got Creed, Thomas, Chaz McDonald, and the rest of the boys. You can figure it out. But in a tournament,
it's a different story.
That's a very different story.
So I agree with you. I think that
when we come back in February,
right, and talk about it. I think the tournament is significantly more impacted than the duel is.
Agreed. I agree with that entirely.
All right, so 4A. Oh, we're good?
Yep, we're good. Yep, I see it.
Okay. All right. So any region stand out, or I'm sorry, any quad stand out to you as being the quad that is going to be tough to get through?
There is 3, that Columbus one, the West Lawrence one, and then the Marist one.
Okay. So I like that. And the reason you're picking them is because they all have Region 8 teams facing against somebody who is
pretty much. Like, when you really look at it,
and to be fair, right? I mean, last year Region 8 and 4A is a lot like Region 1 and 7A, and
very much.
They have, those teams have a tendency to be right in the top 5, 6, 7 teams in the entire classification.
Like you look at that region, it's like, okay, if you're North Oconee, you got to go through West Lawrence now because you did drop to Chestatee. And it's like, Chestatee's really good. But now to get to the state tournament, it's a 3-5 matchup for me. It's like West Lawrence might be the number 3 team in the state, and North Oconee been in that top 5 for me in and out for the year. It's like, oh God, like good luck there.
Even if you flip them, I mean, North Oconee goes up to where Chestatee is, and they move down. I mean, you still have North Oconee and Columbus, and you've still got Chestatee and West Lawrence. I mean, it's still tough.
Yeah. And then you like that's popcorn right there, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so quad 1. Tough to talk about.
Interesting, a very intriguing quad.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna turn my fan off.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing because you have a team in New Hampstead who is number 2, but has looked good all year. Like I don't like Hampton. I think is the favorite, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe New Hampstead pull an upset and see themselves into the Elite 8.
Okay, so one of the things I find really interesting is that I think this is actually a situation where the 4 team and Pickens isn't significantly different than any other team within the quad. It doesn't mean that they're going to get through. It just means that
I'll be honest, I don't know too much about Pickens. I'll be honest. I haven't got too much info on them. But now that I'm in the South, it's really weird because the tournaments that I see and hear a lot about, like my team members. I have a team member who's from New Hampstead. I have team members from like Jeff Davis, let's say. So for me, the results I get information on from my teammates now, it's, hey, did you see what New Hampstead did? Did you see what this team did? So now it's kind of weird because Pickens is not really in my informational range right now. And it's like, I know they're good.
Right. No, but you're right. You get to hear much more about some of those other teams. So what is it about New Hampstead says that you get information on?
FYI, on your region breakdown, you have New Hampstead winning Region 3.
On mine?
Yeah, where it says Region 3, New Hampstead, you have Benedictine second.
Oh, I do?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I just peeped it because I wanted to see who their region was, and I was like, oh, they won. Wait a minute. No, they didn't. Like, I was like, wait a minute. No, but, I mean, both their regions, Hampton and New Hampstead, weren't the most deep of sorts. But it's just from New Hampstead, I've heard good things. I've heard that they went to the Coastal Clash and were a top 15 team. Like, New Hampstead can go. They have some hitters. So I'm intrigued to see that duel against Cairo. Because, like, let's say they take care of business and beat Cairo by 40. It's like, oh, okay. And then Pickens, I mean, you go to Region 7. I mean, Central Carroll, Cedartown, and Heritage Catoosa. It's not as if they were losing to terrible teams. They're losing to teams that can wrestle. So, right. Again, this is a question of region for me more than anything. Like, how good is Region 7? Very good. How good is Region 5? Hampton, then Mount Zion, Luella, Fayette County. Like, no disrespect, but not your stereotypical powers.
Right.
So, lots of intrigue in that first quad for me.
All right, quad 2. Do you think it's a Columbus versus Chestatee matchup?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of, no disrespect to Miller Grove or Howard, but I just think that those two teams are far and away the best teams in that quad. If you're Chestatee, let me tell you something. I've heard a lot of good things about Chestatee, and I wasn't too sure about them until I saw Region, and I was like, oh God, like, they're legit as they come. Like, I saw they won Hall County. It's like,
Well, it was interesting. Somebody posted on the comment section that they're like, you were picking Chestatee. And I was thinking to myself, I want to respond and say, I mean, in Region 8, you got Flowery Branch, you got North Oconee. Maybe I am surprised that they were as high as that they finished.
I'll say it. I was
pretty good. Yeah.
I'll say it. And that's no disrespect to them. If it's anything, I'm saying this in a complimentary way, that I thought that if anything, they'd be the 4 team to get through. And you're a top 2 team in that region. Absolute respect and class to the Chestatee boys. Like, go do your thing, big hosses. Like, I love it. And Columbus is no slouch either. So that duel is going to be very fun.
Well, and you gave a shout out to the Greenbrier girls, so you need to give a shout out to the Chesapeake girls, who are fantastic
Don't get
as
it
well.
twisted, because if I don't, Gabby, who's on my team, might beat me to death. So yes, absolutely. Shout out to the Chesapeake girls. They get the job done too, and they are a great girls program and a growing and flourishing one in the state of Georgia. Like, that entire Chesapeake program is moving the right way. So shout out to all of them.
All right, quad
Gabby,
three.
don't hurt.
Quad three. Central Carroll. Bainbridge. I don't know.
Central Carroll.
Okay.
Now I will say, Aaron Sheffield not wrestling is a interesting development.
Is he not wrestling?
From what I heard, he just quit.
Yeah.
And he hasn't wrestled for a while, so it fits the description.
I do know that they I was looking at, I think, a dual tournament, and they were missing a lot of kids that I was surprised that they had some holes in their lineup, but then they came through Region 7 and won Region 7. So I wasn't sure if things had changed or not changed.
I don't know either.
Was a
That's one of those where I just don't know.
Yeah. All right, quad four.
This is West Lawrence. I mean, throw a dart between Oconee and Lawrence. I mean,
Yeah.
Big Mama Chase Horn, obviously leading West Lawrence in the crew. North Oconee is a solid team top to bottom. I mean,
I agree with you. I do think that, I think at least what I know about both those teams, I would say that West Lawrence has more of a path, meaning they can give something up and still kind of make up points in other areas. North Oconee, with the matchups I think that they have with West Lawrence, are going to need for those things to really go their way for.
I mean, let's call it what it is about West Lawrence. This is one of the few times I'm willing to say this. They are going into a duel 6-0 up. Like, they haven't. No, and that's the thing, and that's important in a duel like this. In one of these duels where it's going to come down to swings, if you can say that you're going into a duel 6-0 up,
right,
that is a asset. Like,
no doubt.
Having Big Mama up there, like, if you're going into heavyweight and you're down 4, duel over, we win, sweet, ball game, GG. Like honestly, he is a special kid, and like we say it very rarely that in a scenario like this, in a close duel, if you're North Oconee, you have to make up 6 points somewhere.
Right. No, you're
and
right.
It's doing the math of figuring out, okay, where are we making up those 6?
All right, quad 5.
By the way, that's going to be a fun one. I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying they just have to figure that out.
Yeah. Quad 5, is Flowery Branch versus Marist the best opening round match in 4A?
Yes, by far.
I agree with you.
And I can make a case for it being one of the best ones in the state. I mean, North Paulding, Tift, them, the Holy Innocents and Commerce one. Like, there's 4 or 5 of these first round dual meets that's like, oh God. And you look. I will admit, I love my Flowery Branch boys. I am a little biased. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't want there to be any sort of miscommunication. I love Flowery Branch, Matthew Seaman and the crew up there, and Coach. Why am I losing his name? Oh God. Hell, I'm going to get beaten when he sees me next because I love this dude to death. Seth Larson and the boys. It's just. They are a very solid team, but I mean, you look Perry and Jordan even like let's keep Let's keep this in perspective. Perry and Jordan can wrestle.
That's right.
So this is one of those things where, like Holy Innocents of Commerce, where you cannot deflate after that first round off the scale.
Agreed.
You need to be ready to wrestle in that final because if you're Marist and you beat Flowery Branch and you lose sight of what's going on, you could get dinged off. Like that's a very interesting quad in 4A to me.
Okay, quad 6.
Benedictine, I think, are your favorites, but Heritage Catoosa, I think, could throw a bit of a challenge at them. You look through Region 7. I mean, they got third in a really tough region.
Agreed.
They're a good, solid team, well coached. I think. No disrespect to Zion or Monroe, but I think it's a Benedictine Heritage match we see in the finals, and that should be a lot of fun.
Quad 7. I'm a big fan of Troop County, but
I am too, but
I can't. I mean, there's no way that there's not no way, but it would be a super.
you drew
surprise.
the shortest of straws.
Jefferson is one of the best teams in the state, not just one of the best teams in 4A.
You drew the shortest of straws possible, and it's like, and you got to go wrestle them at home. God bless you.
All right, so last one. Thomas County Central are the region champs down there. Cedartown showing some stuff. They took second out of that region 7. So
TCC and Cedartown should be a lot of fun. I like TCC a lot. I like Thomas County. I've been a fan of them for a while. They put together really good teams every year. I remember my sophomore year, they had a really good run at duels, and it was kind of surprising because I didn't know who they were, and all of a sudden they were in the state finals. I was like, oh, who's this team? And then the more I followed them, I was like, oh, okay. So they are really that team of 14 no-names, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that as 14 kids. They have no holes. They may not have your number 1s and 2s in every weight, but they can wrestle for 14 weights. And you need a full team. You need a full team to beat them. And I mean that in the most like positive way possible. Like, they are a team.
Now I'm gonna throw in the caveat. I should have done this at the beginning of each of both of these because somebody's probably not even gonna hear this, but we are in the midst of a rise in number of cases and all these sorts of things. Those sorts of things of losing certain kids out of a lineup could have a huge impact on any of the things that we're talking about. We're discussing it as if everybody comes in full strength, at least as full strength as you can get.
That is the assumption that we were taking, and I think I'm in a rough spot because I did get COVID back in last year, not 2020, not 2021, and it affected me badly. Like, I was in really rough shape. If you were on my Instagram live when I was in quarantine, I was really in a rough spot. So I obviously see the danger to it, but I am also the first to say we go back to live our normal lives. So I'm always going to assume at full strength if COVID takes someone, my blessings are with them. I have nothing but good thoughts for those people. But it's just we're in a really interesting time right now, and I just feel like in something like this, we need to. And it sounds so trivial, but normal life. Let's predict that everybody's back. Let's assume the best for everybody, because then at the end of the day, as a wrestling fan, that's what I want to see. I want to see the best.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, the truth is that we're just all kind of riding along with it as it goes along anyway. So, as long as they're going to continue to have it, and unless we find out, but the reason I brought it up was because it is possible, it gets in a program. Maybe that's why we're seeing a couple of programs not, already forfeiting and things along.
I wonder if that's what happened with Turner.
Yeah. We don't know. I'm just saying that it certainly could have a huge impact on the outcome of some of these duels. So
for sure. No, I agree with you 100%. It absolutely could.
All right. Last classification, 2A. So before we get to before I pull up the other screen, what are your general impressions about 2A?
I'm gonna level this as unbiased as I can, because if you know me, I love Stoudemire and the boys at Oglethorpe. Shane Watson and the crew. I'm good friends with Shane, but this is a very interesting year in duels because, like, I have it in my notes here that yes, Oglethorpe are your defending dual champions, but they've had some turnover in the past season. Like, this is not the same Oglethorpe team. This is a good team still. Don't get it twisted, but you still got Lovett. You still got you still have Pace. You still have Dade, Banks, Lamar, like Freeman, and it's a very fun dual tournament this year.
Yeah, so that was.
I can't wait till we decide to break down the state tournament and all 14 weights in each class. That'll be fun.
Well, that's one of the things I think is really
6 hours of that.
Is that yeah, no doubt.
We'll have to do that over 2 days. I'll keep it a buck. We're doing that over 2 days. Ain't no way in hell I'm doing that one day. I don't drink, and I'm going to need vodka for that.
Is that 2A? I think you're right with Oglethorpe, but this is, I think 2A is actually a classification that could go to any of like 5 or 6 teams, depending on who matches up, who makes the best things, those sorts of things. So
I agree with you 100%. It's going to be who has their day.
All right, so let's go over to it. Anything stand out? Oh, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Where's my one? Bottom left 2. That quad stuck out to me like a sore thumb.
This one?
Yep, Pace, Union, and
Harrelson.
Harrison, thank you. Yeah, it's a very interesting quad to me. Like that's one that I look at, and then top left 2. I mean, you see Vidalia and Banks, and that's a fun one.
Yeah.
So we see it again, as you mentioned COVID earlier. I mean, we see it in that top left. Bremen moves on to the finals, and they are waiting on a all likely matchup against Lovett.
Yeah. Were
you 2
surprised
times in this region. Oh, I didn't even see that with East Lawrence. I didn't even see that until just now. Oh God.
Did you? Were you surprised that Haralson County beat Bremen?
Yes, very.
Okay, so do you have any information on what happened in the duel? Was it close?
I have no information, but I don't have any direct details, but from what I was told from my sources, Harrelson just wrestled a really good duel.
Okay.
Harrelson made it happen. Harrelson flipped a couple matches in the swing matches. I think that was Harrelson's coming of age. Like, Harrelson showed themselves with that duel. It was, hey, we are here. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, they might be legit. So.
All right. So let's go down to it. Quad 1. Defending champs, right?
Yep.
Anybody else in the hunt? No. All right. You saying
my notes are Oglethorpe.
So I agree with you. I do think that Coosa will battle with them a little bit in the opening round, but they move on pretty solidly. Quad 2, I think is actually closer than many of the other quads, personally.
Really? Okay. So this could be, again, I don't have the right. Please go.
Well, no, I just think that Vidalia has some outstanding individuals, right? Hunter Manning.
Oh, you're talking between Vidalia and Banks?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say, like, I thought maybe Callaway. Like, I was like, oh, okay, who else?
No. I'm talking about actually Vidalia comes in as the area 2 champs, but it wouldn't surprise me if Banks were on paper maybe more the favorite. Vidalia has the hammers, but I
believe in my rankings, I've had Banks above Vidalia in the past couple rankings. I do believe.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had Banks above Vidalia.
Now, when you do your rankings, do you do both duels and tournament?
I combine it, because what I go based on is I say to myself, life on the line, what team do I think is better?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Like, and it's I even say in all I put them on, hey, this is just a little bit of fun. This is just me giving my 2 cents. Come on.
Gotcha. All right. Quad 3. Anybody challenge Dade County?
Barron is going to be their biggest challenge. I take Dade comfortably, but Barron can wrestle. They'll win some matches in that dual meet.
Okay. I think Dade is probably the favorites. And then we get to quad 4, which actually should be a really pretty good quad, I think.
I have it as throw darts.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think, because the problem is Harrelson wrestled good. Was that an anomaly? Was that they had a really good performance? Did Bremen underperform? I don't know. So then you look at a Pace in a Union County. Just give me one moment here. Region 6. Pace lost to Lovett. Lovett is a very good team.
Correct.
Union lost to Banks and Fannin, like both very good teams. So is this more a question of they were in tougher regions? Like,
I'm with you. I think that actually we were identifying opening round matches. I think the Union County Pace Academy match is actually a really
that's a sneaky good. That's a sneaky good first duel. I will go on record to say whoever wins that duel to me, I think will get through the quad. No disrespect to Harrelson, but I think I need to see something out of Harrelson because I don't know. Like, did Bremen just underperform, or did they beat a full strength Bremen? I don't know.
Right. I've heard that Bremen is actually has some injuries and still have injuries.
I heard that they're a little dinged up. That's the one thing I did hear is that is not a full strength Bremen.
Not to take anything away from Haralson County though.
Absolutely not. Because listen, you have to be able to execute and get the job done in that scenario, and they did that. And you at the end of the day, you can only wrestle who comes out in front of you.
Correct. All right.
Which now
go ahead.
Leads to this quad being a lot more interesting.
If Bremen's 100%, but if they're not close to 100, I don't even know if they're 100% if they can beat Lubbock.
That's the thing. Now it's a matter of, do they get to 100%? And if they do, let's say they do. Let's say that these were like guys had sore wrists and things of that nature. Let's just say, can they even beat Lubbock at full strength in a dual meet? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Lubbock's a tough team.
Lubbock is my number 2 in 2A, and I mean that in a good way, as in they are very, very good. And I mean, even if you're Stoudemire and the boys, you better be careful. Like, Lubbock can bang. So,
quad 6.
This is a fun quad too.
Yeah, this is actually probably the most competitive quad. Lamar County probably has the edge, but I think that each of these teams is going to rely on a non-ranked wrestler to come through in a big way if they're going to win and advance to the Elite Eight.
I worked with Elbert over the summer, and I liked what I saw in them. I think they're a really mentally tough team. I think if duels come down to matchups, I think Elbert can really ding off a couple teams just because they're willing to grind and work in a different sort of way. I like what I see at Elbert. They're well coached. They have their dogs, but I think Lamar are the favorites. But don't be shocked if Elbert even Medell gets through.
All right.
I'm shocked.
Quad 7, Fannin County, tough team.
Very tough team.
Right. Came, I wouldn't say from nowhere, but I think they were probably a surprise to win 2A traditional last year. And you look at their team, and
they did get some help though.
They bring back some good kids. Does Temple or Toombs County have a shot, or do you think it's really Fannin gonna move their way through?
Hey, that's disrespectful. You not even mention Washington. But no, in all seriousness, I think that they'll move through comfortably.
Okay. And quad 8. What are you thinking?
I like Pepperell. I just do. I like them. I don't know why. It's just something about them. Like, Cook can go, though. Don't get it twisted. I know the guys at Cook. I think Cook and Pepperell will be a very fun duel meet.
I agree with you. And again, I think it'll be much like what we talked about before in that there will be some unranked wrestlers. I mean, look, Pepperell will have, their studs, Waddell. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
They're kids who will get their points. But who, what's going to happen with their 13 pounder, their 20 pounder, the kid maybe who is not ranked, who can, get a win here and there and that sort of thing as he's going through his notebook. All right.
Well, no, because I know Cook well enough that I was able to get some information on them, and then in turn to Pepperell. I mean, the matchups I'm looking at are 20, 38, 52 are 3 that are really going to do, and then 220. You look, Cook at 220, their kids ranked but not very high. And it's going to be just one of those things where it's like, okay, Pepperell, if they want to win, they need to swing those.
Right.
And it's doable. It's not out of their range per se, but just they got to go and execute. Should be a lot of fun, though. I'm excited to see that one. I have this as a popcorn duel. Like, when it gets to that one, sit back, get you a nice bucket of popcorn, and just wait, because both those teams are physical. They're well coached. It's going to be – I'm intrigued. Again, my money would be on Cook if I had to bet on it, but those Dragons, bro, they can go.
All right. So I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked you at the end of the last one we did, and that is, and you were pretty macro, general in talking about it. Let's be a little more specific and with 6A, 4A, and 2A. One headline out of 6A. What would be one headline that kind of sticks with you?
Chaos is a ladder. It's a Game of Thrones quote because I'm a Game of Thrones nerd, but honestly, it fits. That is just going to be chaos. And the question is going to be, because there's going to be a team that places that nobody expects. I'm going to go on record to say that.
Okay.
Who's going to be the team that capitalizes on a semi-slide, let's say, or they get through because they got through a weird quad and they're riding off momentum of being the underdogs? Like, 6A is going to be a very fun tournament, from the prelims to the Elite Eight to the finals and the placements. So that's one of those where who's peaking at the right time? Who's the kid that all of a sudden started to find himself late in the year and now he's going to play a big part for a team, like a Sequoia, let's say. Like, 6A is going to be a bloodbath from round to round.
All right. One headline from 4A.
Dynasty or bust.
Okay.
This is Jefferson. They've won. They've won. Did they win 2 in a row?
I think this would be their second, right?
So this is, if you're Jefferson, this is your dynasty year. This is, do you prove yourself as, not to say that they haven't proved themselves as a lead
they
already.
Had a dynasty well before, but they did. It was broken. Yes.
Yeah. This is this new dynasty. This is where you prove yourself as a dynasty. Because dynasties can't win one title. They need to win 2, 3, or 4. So here you go. This is, do you take care of business, especially losing a kid like a Hoke? He was almost at Chase Horn, like, okay, we're guaranteed 6 every single time.
Right. Like,
that's a big hole to fill. And yes, it's one weight, but that puts more on a Creed Thomas, a Chaz McDonald, a Luke Cochran, let's say. You need to step up now. So lots of fun there.
Headline in 2A.
Darts.
Okay.
Honestly. No, we labeled 5 or 6 duels that are going to be first or prelim finals as really tough duels. Mm-hmm. And it's, if you're an Oglethorpe, while you may not have a dart duel in the prelims, hey, bud, be ready for your Elite Eight. Like, you got to be ready to go. If you're a Lovett, you got to be ready to go stepping off the scale. Like, there's going to be a lot of fun in 2A. Like, I think 2A, I think it'll be Lovett and Oglethorpe 1 and 2 in some configuration, but that 3 through 6, let's say, like your placements and your blood rounders, there's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be there's a lot of intrigue there for me.
All right. So we are going to watch what happens. And then Sunday, I think they have the seed meeting. Hopefully Sunday night or Monday, we will post the Elite 8 brackets. And then maybe you and I can get back together first part of next week and have a conversation about the final 8.
I would be happy to do that, Jason. I love doing these kinds of videos, and especially for Georgia, a state that I care a lot about. I'm in.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you have a wonderful day. You got practice in a little while. So
a couple hours.
All right. When's your next match?
21st, we go to Kaiser.
Okay.
We were going to go to the our Mustang Invitational, but our coach and his wife ended up getting quarantined. We're good. His wife his wife was showing symptoms, so they decided to self-isolate for a couple days. So we're not going to Conway, Arkansas. It kind of annoys me because I want to go to that tournament, but it is what it is. We're just going to keep it pushing. I'm excited for the rest of the year. I've been off to a good start.
You have.
I'm just going to make a push and see if maybe we can end up on the top of the podium.
All right, man. All right. Well, right now we're talking about these high schoolers, but we'll definitely be paying attention to you. When is the end of the year? When is nationals? Is it March?
I think our conferences are the week of the Georgia State tournament, that like Valentine's Day weekend, and then nationals for us are like March 10th.
Okay. So. All right. Well, I'll chat with you in a few days. Sound good?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. Bye.
Take care.